Hi, Kels.
Welcome to Cradle to Chaos.
Welcome.
We're back. How was your week?
Oh my gosh, it was wild. So I traveled for work Tuesday and Wednesday. I went to Miami. And my flight Tuesday was at like 4. No, it was at 6 a.m., but I had to be to the airport. I left my house at 4:30. And then, of course,
rough.
Millie was like wide awake. Of course, like
Of
the
course.
one day that she like decides to wake
They have
up.
like,
Radar.
yeah.
And then it was awful because I was like trying to like console her back to sleep, but I literally had to get an Uber to get to the airport.
Right.
And
Aww.
it was just like, it was so gut wrenching because she was like holding on like death grip to my arms and like wouldn't let me go. And it was just so sad. I was like, I had this moment where I was like, why do I work? Like, should I
Every
just
day of
quit
my
my
life?
job? But then let me tell you, yesterday made me realize why I work. Because I was single momming all day and she refused to nap, which I'll get to in a second. But then after I got home, I was just like, I don't know, I like caught something while I was traveling, or I was just exhausted, so I just didn't feel very well.
I always feel like
the rest
crap
of
when
the
I
week.
travel, like when I get home.
Yeah.
You need like, I feel like you need a vacation from a vacation.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't vacation,
No.
but
Not at all.
it's still just, it's hard to come back and like get back into your normal routine. And
Yeah, for sure. And I think because it was so early, and then like just traveling in general is just like taxing. Like,
that's
flying
why I only
and-
do it like once a year.
right. But Miami was beautiful, so I cannot complain at all about
We've
the
actually had
destination.
decent weather here. This week is supposed to be really nice. Like
Yes.
70s and 80s.
I know. Today was great. So we went to a park in Dublin. Actually, we kind of drove a little bit further, and it's like a giant playground. And about 45 minutes in, I got a migraine. And I get really bad like optical migraines. So like my vision literally was like spotty.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I get like zigzags and sparkles. Do you get those?
I have actually had those a few times, and I didn't know what they were
Yeah,
until
it's terrifying.
well, so when I have migraines, apparently I didn't even know I was having a migraine when it's happened to me. I lost the ability to like speak.
Yes. Me too. That's what happens to me.
And they thought I was having a stroke.
Yeah.
Yep.
You feel like you're having a stroke.
Yeah, and it's weird because you know that you sound like an actual idiot. Like it affects typing too, because I was trying to text people.
Well, you can't. And you can't see.
It doesn't affect me that way. I would get like the spots right before I knew it was going to happen. It was more like I couldn't like form correct sentences through text or like out loud.
I forget
and it was
names.
Scary. Yeah.
It's the scariest thing ever. Numbers, names.
Yeah.
You can't talk.
I remember the first time it happened to me, I was like, okay, I'm just being crazy. I had just played a tennis match. So I was like, I was probably just like overheated.
Dehydration.
Yeah. And I got in the shower, and I always sing in the shower because I'm annoying.
I love that.
And I was like, I don't know the words to these songs. And like, that's why I got like really freaked out.
Yeah.
And it also just happened to be like a month before me and Adam got married. So everyone was like, oh, okay, you're just stressed out.
You're
I'm like,
stressed,
No,
yeah.
I'm not. But to this day, and that was 6 years ago,
my
the
gosh.
second I start to get a headache, I panic and take ibuprofen. Like it freaks me out.
It freaks me out so much. It's so scary. And then the right side of my body goes numb. So like my lips were all numb, my hands were all numb, and I just like, so we had to leave the park obviously, and then in the car home was awful, and then I just laid in bed for like 2 hours until I got better. But it was like, and then you go back to normal eventually. It just takes a few hours. It's the scariest thing. But then of course I had mom guilt.
Yeah.
I had
You're
mom
like, we had to leave
guilt.
the playground.
Well, no, and just for like laying in bed and like,
How dare you take care of yourself?
I know, but like, how bizarre is that? Like this thing that I don't want to be happening
know.
at all. I literally told Matt I would not wish this on my worst enemy.
Yeah, it's awful.
Like, I was like, the one thing I like really don't want to be happening that I have to deal with right now, I have guilt for.
Yeah, it's like when you're sick and you're
Yeah.
like have a stomach bug or whatever, and you're like, I really can't play with you right now.
Yeah.
You're like,
I
I'm the
actually
worst.
have to like lay in bed.
Yeah.
And then I just feel guilty that Matt has to do it.
Well, I think also, especially at the age of our girls, they're also confused because they don't really
Yes.
understand, and they're like, "What
they're
are
so
you
dependent.
doing?"
Yeah. And Millie's like attached. Oh my God, she's a freaking Velcro baby right now. Like I was unloading groceries this morning and she would not let me set her down.
Aw.
It was wild.
You'll miss it one day.
I know. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Lainey had a very tough day today.
Yeah,
like
what
Ab and I were like, do we leave her
Did you do
here
time out? Do you
forever?
do time out?
We do sort of, like, if it's kind of a last resort for me, just because I don't feel like she really, like, gets it.
Yeah.
And the only time we've ever really, like, been super angry with her and, like, we're like, get away from me for your safety was when Chloe was, I mean, she was probably only about a month old, and Lainey was, like, going through this thing where she just, like, didn't really understand what her sister was at that point, and Chloe wouldn't stop crying, and Lainey walked up to her and smacked her in the face as hard as she could. I mean, me and Adam were both, like, in tears, like, not only, like, we want to make sure that Chloe's okay, we're like, do we call the doctor?
Yeah.
But, like, we could not believe that she did that. And looking back, she was so little, it was just like
like, I'm trying to turn this thing off.
well, that, and, like, she wanted the attention. And to this day, it's wild because Lainey was newly 2 when we had Chloe. Like, to this day, every once in a while, just out of nowhere, you know how weird, like, toddlers' memories are just, like, scary sometimes?
Yes.
She will just out of nowhere be like, hey, remember when I hit Chloe?
She remembers that?
Isn't that wild? Because that's nothing like that has ever happened before. We don't talk about it. Like, isn't that so weird?
Wait, how does she, like, talk about it?
That's it. I mean, that's literally all she'll say. And she'll be like, we don't hit. Like, it's just.
Well, at least she follows it up with we don't hit. Like, she learns.
Yeah. And she's not, like, just, like, reminiscing.
Like, ha, 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 remember that?
No, it's just, like.
Those were the good old days.
No, but.
Oh my gosh, that's so weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, today, so we went to church this morning, and she's in the 2 to 3 year old class, and I tell them I prefer that they text me if she needs to go potty. I just don't want a random person taking her potty, and also the chances of her actually going for them are pretty slim.
Yeah.
So they did. They texted me. It's like 10 minutes before the end of service. I'm like, fine. So I went and got her, took her potty. She went potty, and at that point, I was like, I'm not re-dropping her off.
Oh, so yeah, no, it's like about 10.
Just brought her into the main auditorium with me, and that's when things started going downhill.
Oh gosh.
She just, like, she wasn't being bad. She just kept talking and talking and talking, and I'm like, be quiet.
Yeah.
And so finally I went to give her my phone so she could play a game on there for the last few minutes, but she wanted the volume up. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, I can't turn this on. And she was like, I need the volume. And I'm like, grr. So I was like, if you don't want to play it, it's fine, but I can't turn it on right now.
Yeah.
Trying to reason with a 2-year-old in front of, like,
you can't.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, we'll play it later. And she screamed as if I was, like, ripping her arm from her body. So we're like, we gotta go. We're like running out of there. Everyone in there probably heard her, like, down the whole hallway. She was so loud. And then it didn't end. We got in our car, and then we had to drive, like, a half hour. We do this meal plan thing. We had to pick up our meals, which was like a half hour away. She freaked out the whole way there, almost the whole way back.
Oh, no. What was she just like screaming?
Just like random stuff. You know how, like,
everything's
just suddenly everything's wrong?
Yes, that was us yesterday. Yep.
It was one day I promised her that I'd take her to Target, and she's obsessed with Toy Story 4 now. She really wants a Forky. So it's been a, like, potty training, like, no accidents, and then we can get it. And she hasn't, like, she's been having accidents just every once in a while. And now suddenly she needs to go to the store, and she needs to get Forky. And now she dropped the toy that she was playing with, and she needs it right now, and she's hungry, and she wants a snack.
God.
But, like, at the top of your lungs. And and at that point I was getting a headache, and
oh no.
So, like, on top of that, I'm getting a headache, but I'm also getting worried that, like, what you just talked about is about to happen.
Yep. Oh my God, wouldn't that be funny not funny, but ironic
if it happened on
if
the
we
same
both
day.
had the same, and if they're from our toddlers.
No, I laugh because it hasn't happened to me since I worked in childcare, and I'm like, well, is there a correlation?
I mean, probably.
But no, it's just been a hard day just in the parenting land, but
yesterday was like that for us. She refused a nap, so that was fun. And then so I was like, fine. So I just, like, kind of gave in. I was like, all right, we'll skip nap tonight.
Lainey didn't nap today either, but she also didn't help. Yeah,
that doesn't help at all. So we went outside, and we were, like, doing some gardening, and then we went inside, and I was like, oh, do you want a popsicle? It was like a hot day, and she's like, yeah, I want a blue popsicle. And I'm like, baby, we don't have blue popsicles. We have, like, both, like, we have the Pedialyte popsicles, and we have the, like, just normal, like, stick popsicles, and it's like orange, red, like, you know, that kind of
everything
thing.
but blue.
Everything but blue. I was like, we really don't. And you know how, like, the stick popsicles have a white wrapper, so you can't actually see what color it is?
Oh no.
She made me. She's like, well, what about this one? And I would open it up. I'm like, I'm telling you, none of them are blue. But she's throwing a fit and she doesn't believe me. And you can't reason with a 2-year-old.
Right.
Literally opened 6 popsicles. They were orange, they were purple, they were pink, they were red.
At least she knows you're not a liar.
Freaking one.
Which color did she land on?
She ended up with a Pedialyte, which looks
she was like, well, all of these are horrible.
Swamp green. Like, it looks gross. So literally my kitchen sink was just popsicles.
Oh my gosh.
I was like,
you got rid of them?
Oh yeah, because like, I don't know, I didn't want to put them back in the freezer.
Oh.
And then I was also like, less popsicles,
true.
less worry. I was also just like,
you
at
put
my
your
wit's
problems
end.
right down the drain.
Yeah, like I was at the point where I like wanted to just like scream and run out of my house.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
But yeah, that was wild. Oh, I do want to plug something. Okay, so at Target dollar section, they have these little like popsicle holders.
Oh,
like I think it's $1 per one or whatever. It's like a little like silicone popsicle holder. It's for like the stick ones, and it has like 2 sizes of like holes, I guess, that you just stick the stick in. And so it's like rubber, so they don't get cold, and it has this big like, I don't know, like rounded bottom, so it's just really hard to explain. And so like when it melts, it all like puddles in there, and it has like a little straw, so they can like slurp up the juice that melts.
Oh, that is cute.
So I obviously had to get like,
I mean, I've been to Target like
those.
4 times this week, and I have yet to see those, so I'm not looking good enough.
I did not get them at our Target. I got them a different one. Our Target's a little lacking, but
that is true.
All
right.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to start off with some treats because
we need some treats.
I need to remember why I love my children.
Yes. Yeah.
All of my treats and tantrums are all Lainey this week. So, so Lainey's, she started to speak in complete sentences, but without full context of what it means sometimes, or like when to use the phrase.
Yeah.
So something that she has been saying a lot is just another minute. And it'll be about like anything, or like, let me do it for a minute.
Oh my gosh.
It'll be, okay, like we're going to clean up soon because we have to go upstairs and take a bath. And she'll be like, 1 more minute. Every single day when we pull the car into the garage, if we're listening to a song, she'll say, I want to sit here for a minute.
Oh my gosh. That's so cute.
And every night before we leave her room, it's, will you lay with me for a minute?
Oh, for 1 minute.
For a minute. So that's been really cute.
That's so cute.
And then my other one, it's actually Lainey and Chloe, and this is together. This is more of a general one. They've started to play together a lot more. Chloe was just like following her around for the longest time, but now Lainey will like play peekaboo with her, and like
that's so
like
cute.
They'll like play tag, quote unquote tag, where they like just chase after each other. So that's been really cute.
That's adorable. I love that.
What did Millie do for you this week?
My tree is also like half full sentences. I guess they are full sentences, just not really used correctly. So in February, it was my birthday. March was my mom's birthday and Matt's birthday. So we had a lot of birthdays back to back.
Okay.
And it's very evident that Millie does not understand what birthdays mean or how they work, because anytime like she would leave my mom's or something, she'd be like, bye, happy birthday. And then
this is just something we say.
Yeah. And like she would like greet people with, hi, happy birthday.
Aww.
And then we had ice cream last night at my parents' house, and she goes, happy birthday to you.
Oh, that's so cute.
She just thinks that like, you know, it's just like a greeting.
Yeah.
It's something you have when you have treats.
That's so sweet.
It's very pure.
Lainey's obsessed with birthdays. She keeps asking, is it my Elsa birthday?
Oh, like soon.
Not yet.
2 weeks.
I know. Oh my God, that's wild.
Yeah.
I'm not ready. There's too much to do.
Okay, what about tantrums? I mean, aside from all the tantrums we've already talked about.
I have 2. This is dedicated to you, Lainey. Aside from today, the entire day was a tantrum, but so we've been trying to do different things to encourage her to like be very proud of herself when she goes a whole day without having any accidents, and that happens very frequently. It's mostly at school that we're working on it to be a little bit more independent, but because like on the weekends she has no issues. So it could be, you know, I know if it's going to be a good weather day and I'm going to get home in time, that we can walk to the playground, or, you know, something special after dinner, or she can pick what she wants for dinner. And this particular day, I asked her what she wanted for having an accident-free day, and she said she wanted to go to Target. I was like, okay.
And you're like, say less.
Sign me up.
Get in the car.
Right. And like literally all day, I'm like, please don't have an accident. Please don't have an accident.
I want to go. Mama wants to go shopping.
So I pick her up. She had a great day. She took a nap. She had no accidents. So we go into Target, and I tell her she can pick out one thing in the store. And she ends up finding, she just recently watched Trolls for the first time, and it's one of her new favorite movies. And she found this nightgown with Poppy on it, and it's really cute. It's like got frills and tulle on it, and it's super, super cute. And she loved it. And she's like, I need to put it on immediately.
Well, yeah.
So she's carrying it through the store, and we get out and we get to the car, and Adam was waiting for us in the car because Chloe had fallen asleep, and that wasn't worth taking her out for. So
No.
I was like, tell Daddy what you got. And she was like, Poppy. She was so excited. She pulled it out and showed him, and he was like, oh my gosh, I love it. They're your jammies. They're so cute. And she was like stopped dead in her tracks. Like, it's not jammies. It's a dress. Oh. I was like, no, Lainey, it's to wear at bedtime. It's a nightgown.
Oh no.
Here she kept saying, she was screaming at the top of her lungs saying, it's not a night. But she just would stop at night. It wasn't a nightgown. It's not a night. Okay. She did indeed wear it to bed for like a whole week.
Well, yeah.
But it was just so funny because she was so mad, and then to also incorrectly say it over.
It's not a night. But did she like try to wear it to school or like during the day?
No, there was some haggling in the morning to take it off, but
oh yeah, that would be rough.
If it was a weekend, I wouldn't care, but
yeah.
So that was that one, and then the next one. So there's been more than one occasion that I have accidentally terrified my child. It's always been Lainey.
We're parents. It's kind of like what you do.
It was, so we take turns on who puts who to bed each night, and it happened to be Adam's turn. And I had a face mask that I really wanted to use, like one of those sheet masks.
Yeah.
You look like Silence of the Lambs.
Totally.
Yeah.
But they feel so good.
They do. So I was just sitting in bed. I was reading my book, and Adam had already put her to bed, but Lainey, and we're talking about sleep today, so this will make sense. But she gets out of bed 100 times because she needs to come, I don't know, tell us that she's going potty or tell us whatever. And so she opened our door, and she was talking to Adam, and she looked past him at me in the bed, and she said, is that Mommy? Yeah, it's
that
me.
would
it's
be
me.
really
I just have a
terrifying.
mask on. It's fine. She went back to bed, and then Adam had to go downstairs, and I think he had to work for a little bit. And so it was just me up there. I heard her get out of bed and go to the bathroom. She didn't come in our room, so I was like, great, I don't have to terrify her. But then she'd been in there for a really long time, and I started to hear some rummaging. I'm like, okay, I can't.
She's doing something.
So
she's up to no good.
Yeah, so I got out of bed, and I was trying to give her a heads up. I'm like, hey, I'm not like into the bathroom. I'm staying in the hallway. I'm like, Lainey, it's Mommy. I still have my mask on, but I'm coming in to help you to make sure you're okay. And I literally just like peered around the edge of the door just to like, she was sitting on the potty, and literally I think I saw her soul leave her body, like the way her whole body shook, and she so scared. It was like out of a horror film. I like peeled that bad boy off, and then the rest of the night she kept saying, me no like Mommy's mask. All night. Mommy, please don't scare me.
That is so hilarious. I never even thought how like a sheet mask would like affect our children. So I'm actually glad you told me this.
I'm fairly certain she's gonna need therapy.
Did she sleep at all that night? Did she have nightmares?
Not that I know of,
Oh
but
my god.
yeah.
That is so funny.
So now the ball's in your court.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Okay, so for our tantrum, I did want to mention real fast, I did put her in timeout for the first time today. It was just more of
I did that too. But
okay.
Yeah.
It was more of a morning of just like, she just wasn't listening at all. And I was like trying to get her dressed. I'm like, we are going to the park. It is going to be really fun. Like, just put some clothes on. And she was just not listening. I was like, you know what? Fine. And we were in her room. I put her in her she has like a little kid size rocking chair. I put her in her little rocking chair, and I said, you're in timeout. I'll come get you in a little bit. And I left. And we have a lock on we have like the children's safety lock on the door, so she can't get out because I'm afraid she's just going to roam the hallways while we're sleeping. And I went back to our room and I just watched her on the monitor. She was an angel. She was so sweet. She just like was looking like she genuinely, I think you said like she actually looked like she was like thinking about what she had done.
Yes.
Like she actually looked like kind of sad, but she was just rocking. It was like actually sweet. So maybe that's actually a treat, less of a tantrum.
Well, that's still, I
Yeah.
mean, that's nice when that actually calms them down.
I know. We went in there. We said, "Are you going to listen better now?" And she goes, "Yeah."
Aww.
Okay, but my real tantrum. So last weekend we went to visit my grandpa. He has a lake house at Lake Erie, and going to bed just in an unfamiliar place is always really, really tricky.
Stressful.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So her and I had a bedroom, and there was like a full-size bed, and then I had her pack and play. And she still naps in a pack and play when she's at my parents' house twice a week, so it's not like anything new. I had my mom bring her like thick, nice pack and play mattress like she's used to. Tried to put her to bed, and I was gonna like go to bed too. Like I was gonna lay in the bed, like because I know like if I leave the room, she would feel uncomfortable.
Sure.
She's never been there before; it's unfamiliar. So I had brought her Hatch. I had her Hatch playing like the normal stuff that we always play. And then I just like laid in bed. She would not stay in her pack and play. She was up screaming at the top of her lungs, like would not even lay down, was just like hyperventilating, like inconsolable. So finally I like brought her into bed with me, but even that wasn't right. Like she was just screaming and screaming. Like she just does not do well sleeping in like new, unfamiliar places.
I mean, me neither.
Yeah, same. But I'm like, girl, you got to be tired.
Yeah.
She also didn't nap that day, really, like maybe a little bit.
She's probably into overtired.
She was overtired for sure. So then, yeah, my mom had to come and lay with us. So it was like my mom, Millie, and me in this
generations.
bed. Yeah, exactly. And that finally like calmed her down, and then she finally fell asleep in the bed.
Yeah.
But then of course I'm like, because I've never co-slept, like that's just not
same.
something that we have done. And so I was like so worried that she was gonna like roll off the bed.
Right.
So I tried to make like a little pillow like barrier, but even then like I'm still like terrified. So I feel like I didn't sleep a wink.
I wouldn't either. I would have been the person trying to put her back in the pack and play and ruining the night all over again.
Yeah. Well, then it was like, it actually happened. Like she woke up at like 1 a.m, and I was like, okay, let's go back in your pack and play now. And
she was like, absolutely not.
Yeah. And then my mom had to come up again. It's kind of nice that she was there, honestly. But yeah, so I mean, today's topic is all things sleep. So let's get into it. I feel like normally Millie has been a horrific sleeper.
Oh no.
She's never been a good sleeper. I don't think we slept a full night. She did not sleep a full night through the night until she was 9 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's literally my first question is, do you remember the first time Millie slept through the night?
I do. like vividly.
Because it was last week.
Because you wake up and you're like, is everything okay?
Oh my gosh.
Is she alive?
9 months?
9 months.
Shut up.
But we didn't do...
I feel like I shouldn't tell my story.
Yours is probably like 9 days or 9 hours. But we didn't sleep train. And so I think this would be interesting
I slip trained the shit out of my
which
kids.
like, I want to hear all about, because that will definitely be something I need to learn next time.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So we started like, I mean, of course, when they're first born, they wake up every 2 hours. Kind of just like, oh, Kelsey's making a cringe face. Well, the doctors tell you they need to eat every 2 hours, at least when they're like newborns. But she just kind of did that. She just kind of woke up every 2 hours and was ready to eat. And I don't know, anytime she woke up as an infant, we would feed her, put her down, and just kind of take turns.
Just pray.
And pray. Yep. Try to get a wink of sleep.
So Lainey slept through the night for the first time. It was around 9 or 10 weeks.
Oh my God. I hate you.
I vividly remember it because it was the first night after her first day in daycare and so also my first day back to work. So it was like lined up really well, but I'm like, she probably just like sensory overload.
Oh my
She's probably just so tired.
Yeah.
Chloe.
Oh my God.
I feel like I need to duck under the table before I
I need something to throw.
Are there any sharp objects over there? She slept through the night at 4 weeks.
That's insane.
I mean, that is wild. I remember us
That
being,
is wild.
And we had, so with Lainey, it was a little trickier. Not trickier. I'm using really, really bad terms for the person who had to wait 9 months for this.
I don't want to hear it.
Our doctor, she was formula fed, so she could go a little longer between feeds. We had to wake her up every 3 hours. She would not wake up.
Oh my God.
And it was actually scary there for a little while. Like, there were some nights I could not get her to physically wake up to eat. And we were like doing, like, we're stripping her down naked. We're tickling her. We're putting like cold washcloths on her body. The second that nipple touched her mouth, she was just like,
just out.
Yeah, she wouldn't take a drop. I remember, like, you're postpartum, you're already crazy. I remember one night specifically, like, rocking her in the rocking chair and calling Adam in, and I'm just like sobbing. I just have like silent tears streaming down. I'm like, I can't get her to eat. And he's like, what are you gonna do? Like, we'll try again in a couple hours.
Wake
like,
up when she's hungry.
Be okay.
Yeah.
He was such a sounding board for her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but Chloe, and Lainey took a lot longer to get back to birth weight. We had to go back a couple extra times for like an extra weigh-in because it took her, I want to say, closer to 2 months to get back to birth weight.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and she's so teeny. She's still so teeny.
Yeah.
Chloe, on the other hand, was like, birth weight, no issues, got this. And she was breasts and formula fed. We like alternated feedings. Just because I wanted a transition to be easy. But honestly, I think this girl would eat literally anything you give her. So I was going to say, I feel like sometimes formula fed babies will sleep a little bit better because it's just like a heavier amount, but that doesn't make any sense because Chloe was, she was half and half. So I don't know.
Yeah. Stuck with her.
Did you swaddle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We were big believers in the swaddle. That worked out really well for us. So we had a snoo actually for the first, I don't know, 6 months. Yeah, well, we borrowed it from a friend. Don't get it twisted. So
that's so crazy that she wouldn't even sleep through the night in that.
Girl, listen to what we did.
God,
you're gonna laugh.
Duct tape her to the.
We tried quite literally everything to get this kid to sleep. We were like literally at a point where we're like, do we hire a night nanny? Like, we just needed to sleep. Like, my mom would come over like once a week at 6 a.m. and I would just be like, here's the baby, and I would go back to sleep for like 2 hours. But then like my boobs were like engorged, so I had to get up and pump. It was awful. So I'm like, I can't even sleep because I have to feed her.
Yeah. Needy babies and wanting their food.
I know. We literally alternated. We had this snoo in our living room, and we alternated. Matt had the first half of the night, and I had the second half of the night. So from like whatever time she went down, 7:30 till 2 a.m., Matt was like, well, he obviously didn't go to bed at 7:30. He would go down at like 10 or 11, but like he would sleep on the couch until 2 a.m. And then he would come upstairs, and she was like clockwork. It was like 2 a.m. She was up, and then he would feed her, get her back down, and then come up and like tag me in, and I would get out of bed and go downstairs from 2 until whatever time she woke up, because it was the only way we could survive.
Yeah.
Like
so she wasn't in her own room?
No.
Okay.
We both just needed like our own like
time to
you
gotta do
in
what
our
you gotta
bed.
do. Yeah, for sure.
We didn't do so like, we all know I'm crazy.
Right.
We never did. I'm admitting it. It's fine. We never did like we switched her to a room when she was like 5 months. I was just like crazy. I was like,
that's not crazy.
So nervous something was gonna happen to her. Like, I wanted to be like right next to her at all times.
I'm like the opposite end of the crazy world, where I so badly like didn't want to have to deal with transitioning from a bassinet to a crib to a crib in her room. So like the day that both of them came home from the hospital, they were in a crib in their room. And even our pediatrician, like, we'd come to the first appointment and they're like, okay, so like is she still in your room? I'm like, girl, no, sir, she has never and will never be in my room.
So you guys just had a monitor, and then like whenever she woke up, you just went in there?
We had to wake them both up. They've I mean, yeah. Now, granted, like they've both had like terrible nights where they are up and we're having to go in there. But as newborns, we just had very sleepy babies. But both babies were both very jaundiced also, which also makes them just sleepy in general.
Okay.
Lainey was much more jaundiced than Chloe was, which explains why I had a very hard time waking her up. And it's funny because looking back at pictures, I'm like, God damn, you are yellow. Because you just have like,
I didn't know she was.
You have mom eyes when you see your babies and you go back and look at pictures and I'm like, oh my God, you were like literally as yellow as the sun.
Oh my gosh.
So she never had to do like, luckily, they never had to put her under the lights or anything like that. Yeah, it was just like the formula was supposed to help, and like they had to test her every time. So,
and they just outgrow it.
Yeah, just like more nutrients kind of works it out of their body. The more you pee it out. You pee out the extra bilirubin, and
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh. Is it genetic? Is that why both of them had it? Is it just like a thing?
It's so I have a negative blood type. So when I get pregnant, I have to get what's it called? I have to get a certain shot. So in the off chance that either Chloe or Lainey were an A type or a positive blood type, my body would like attack the baby as if it was like something foreign.
I've heard about this.
Yeah, so it's pretty common when there's opposite blood types for jaundice to occur at birth. So that'll probably always happen if we ever have more children.
Kids, yeah.
But yeah, it's just I take a shot in the middle of my pregnancy and then again after I have the
baby. You
baby.
went through so much with your pregnancies.
I feel like they had the world's easiest pregnancies. It was hard to get pregnant.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just like yeah. Wow.
But
so that's why they were sleepy.
Yeah. But I'm just like such a psychopath for safe sleep. Like that's something that and I think that just comes from, I mean, that's something that should be important no matter what. But like being in childcare, like you hear all of the stories, but that's why I was always like, they will be in their bed. Like they will never sleep with us.
Alone on their back, empty crib.
Yep. The ABCs.
The ABCs. Alone back. What's the C?
Crib.
Oh.
You already said it. It's past 8 p.m.
It's been a weekend.
Yeah. With Lainey, I did have a bassinet that I kept downstairs just because like newborn naps are so like chaotic that I didn't want to have to walk her upstairs every single time. And she did fine sleeping in there. But then like I got rid of it. I wanted her to be my goal when I was on maternity leave, which I didn't really get much leave with Lainey, but I wanted her to be napping in her bed before she went to daycare. Yeah. And then with Chloe, I tried the bassinet down here, but you have a toddler running around and it's just not. So she napped in her bed like right away.
Yeah.
But yes, I think sleep training is the best thing that you can ever do.
I know. I really want you to get into sleep training.
There's not like a great way to do it. And some people are going to hate hearing about this, so and it's fine, it's not for everybody. I think you have to do what feels right for you. But I just so badly, I think I was more nervous about it because my kids were gonna have to be in daycare at very young ages. Like none of our families are able to like help out with that right now, and I just didn't want them to be the kid who was having to be rocked to sleep and then like just didn't sleep at daycare because it's just when you don't have a kiddo that can kind of self-soothe and put themselves to sleep at daycare, it's hard. I mean, they have 7 other babies in their classroom. Like you can only expect so much. So we started with the swaddle and then slowly transitioned out of the swaddle. So both girls were fully swaddled. Lainey was swaddled a little bit longer. Just because Chloe was so freaking strong, she basically just got out of it on her own. Yeah,
she's a wild beast.
She is something. So we would do a full swaddle. I can't remember once we started transitioning Lainey. I mean, I needed them both to not be swaddled by the time they went to daycare because they don't allow it at daycare.
Yep.
But I don't think it was very long. Lainey, maybe after 3 weeks, we transitioned to one arm out in the swaddle, and then we did two arms out in the swaddle.
We were trying literally everything to get this girl to sleep. We would try one arm in, one arm out. I think I bought every type of swaddle there is, like the nested one that has the weighted bag.
We didn't use that, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, we swaddled forever, and then we transitioned to the Merlin suit around 3 months.
Oh my gosh, the snowsuit! It
So
always reminds me of a Christmas story. I can't put my arms out.
I know they look like little but it works wonders for her.
That's
like
so
she
funny.
Absolutely she did great.
We had one kiddo back when you were allowed to use those that used it, and I was always just so afraid that they were gonna get too hot. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm always worried about her being cold. So
well, then there you go.
It worked out perfectly. We even had her in the snoo in a Merlin suit.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you
it
were like
works
sleep
better
child
than swaddles. Yeah.
Yeah, like Lainey, I'm trying to think like how we did this. It was a lot. I mean, I did it on maternity leave, and I started. We did overnight sleep training before we did nap sleep training. So we would, and honestly, like they've always fallen asleep on their own. So we would feed them their bottle.
Oh, so you would put them in bed awake.
Oh yeah, they were always awake. Yeah, yeah. That's like
you don't want to hear the first time I did that.
That's like the number one.
That's step number one that I failed.
Yeah. Even our doctor was telling us that, and I was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. Did you have you ever heard of taking care of babies?
Mm-hmm. I've never actually you read it or anything.
You could teach the course, but she's like, she's a certified pediatric sleep consultant, and so we watched all of her classes and things like that, and she taught that like you should put them down drowsy but not awake.
Yes.
Yeah, I tried that a few times, didn't go super well. So I would literally feed her and rock her until she fell asleep.
Well, then there were sometimes I couldn't avoid it. Mostly with Lainey because we had a hard time keeping her awake, so she was almost always asleep. But like we would put her down and girl wouldn't move.
Yeah,
like she was just done.
She was out. Well, good.
But I mean, we'd feed her at night and then we'd burp her and we'd put her down and. She usually didn't pee, but like she usually like, and we'd be like staring at the monitor like psychos. Yeah. But as long as she wasn't crying, we were like, we'll just let it go. And there were even a couple times I remember waking up in the middle of the night because she was like making noises in her sleep, and I look at the monitor and she's wide awake, just like living her best life. And you're like instinct just to go in there, but I'm like, but she's fine. Like she's not crying. She doesn't seem like she needs anything. So we let her go, and she just eventually fell back to sleep.
What if she cried?
So. When she was really little, I honestly think sometimes it depended on my mood. Like, yeah, if I'd been like really missing her, I'd go in there and get her. But when we were like really, really sleep training, like once she was out of the swaddle, and
what like age do you think that was?
When she was definitely out of it by 9 weeks because she went to Primrose, so it was probably 8 weeks. Knowing me, I probably wanted it to be done the week before.
Yeah.
So that was probably that time. So around 2 months. And what we would do is we'd put her down. If she cried when we put her down to sleep, which was rare, I will say, we...
Okay.
Should I just let myself out of my own house?
Can you leave your own house?
We did the timer method. I don't know if that's a real method, but we'd start it with, depending on her age. So like the younger she was, the quicker we were. So we would set a timer for 5 minutes, and we would just literally sit together. And it's hard. It is hard, but we were not allowed to do anything until that timer went off. And
oh my God, Matt tried to get me to do that so much. I like never could. I'm just a sucker. I mean,
there were some times where I would come downstairs and just like.
Oh, like out of sight. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I can probably count on one hand the amount of times that she wasn't calmed down by the time that timer went off.
Really?
Yeah. And it's just, I think like the first time it works, you're like, okay.
It's like you got to rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah. And I think like the more you think about a baby, like what else are they going to do? It's not like that's the only thing they know how to do. Yeah. But like people freak out and are like, you're just leaving your child to cry. I'm like, well, okay, yeah, technically I am, but also like They cry when they're hungry. They cry when they're tired. They cry when
Yeah.
they're bored. They cry.
That's just what they
Who
do.
knows? Like, people would be like, what if my kid's freaking out and like their ear just itches and they can't tell me? You know?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, it's normal for a baby to cry because they're tired.
Right.
And I just had to like work myself through that. Now it's a million times different now with Lainey. Like, she has feelings and like can explain herself, and if she's up in her room screaming at the top of her lungs, no, I'm not gonna like let her go.
Right. Like, clearly something's wrong.
Because she's not like, she can
Yeah.
tell me what's going on, and it's not. And like, mostly with Lainey too, she was a thumb sucker, and she would be like actively, like, her eyes are closed, she's like trying to find her thumb, she's like just trying to settle down.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I feel like as a parent you can tell what kind of cry this is too.
That was a thing with the pacifier that was so annoying.
That was another reason why we didn't want to use a pacifier.
Yeah. Yep. Fair. As soon as that thing fell out of her mouth, it was like I had to go in there because I had to give her a pacifier, because then she would. But usually she fell like right back asleep with that. Like, it helped her a lot. But
and I will say we did use a pacifier for a little bit with Lainey, because she took it. And there were a couple of times that I used it for her to get her to sleep. But when we'd lay her down, we'd take it out of her mouth. So it wasn't something that she relied on. But that was probably only for a few weeks. And then she just kind of stopped taking it on her own. So.
I will never forget the first time she grabbed the pacifier all by herself and put it in her own mouth.
Were you like mad but happy all at the same time?
Oh my God. I was like, oh my. No, I was so happy. I was like, Matt, she got the pacifier all by herself. We don't have to do it.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
like such a monumental day.
You know what? I'm gonna backtrack here for a minute, but I was talking about safe sleep. Have you ever seen pictures of yourself as a child in a crib?
No.
Like, just like 90s babies in general, like all the
Oh
crap.
my gosh, the bumpers,
The bumpers, the stuffed animals, the blankets,
oh my
like
God, we had so much shit in
everything. And it's
so unsafe.
like, how are we alive right now?
I literally don't know.
I just think it's so funny. But like, they also say that none of that stuff is safe in a toddler bed either.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, Lainey
You gotta do
could.
what you gotta do.
I mean, sometimes I can't see her in her bed because there's so many stuffed animals
much
in there
stuff,
that I have checked on her on them. Because, well, she just gets up and gets them herself and puts them in her bed.
Yeah.
And I like check her monitor. I'm like, what the heck is going on in there?
You go take some out.
This was last night. So I don't normally take them out because she will wake up and be like, where's my whale? She's like taking inventory in the middle of the night. But I have gotten up and like moved them to the other side of her bed so I can see her.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like so many blankets and so many stuffed animals.
Millie could care less right now.
Really?
Like, she'll sleep with like her Tigger or a Mickey, that Mickey Lovey that I have like 6 of. But otherwise, like, she could care. Like, sometimes she'll kick blankets off. She doesn't really want it on.
It depends on the day. And if it's
but
an
we
excuse.
still have her in a sleep sack.
Oh, really? We never use sleep sacks.
Okay, so after the swaddle, after the Merlin suit, we went to the Merlin sleep sack, which is just like a thicker like sleep sack where her arms are out, and then we still do sleep sacks. It's to her, it almost like signifies like it's bedtime.
Gotcha.
I will say the last 2 weeks she hasn't been letting us put them on, and I'm like, that's fine. Like, you're in a bed, you probably shouldn't be in a sleep sack in case you need to like get up, which you don't because you're in a diaper. But like if she had to for some reason. So I feel like it's like a transition that she's kind of like leading herself, which I'm fine with because
They make sleep sacks that
have feet. Yeah, we have a few of those too.
Yeah.
But then I worry about her feet being cold, and then I have to put socks on her.
My kids are literally sleeping in shorts and t-shirts every night without blankets. I mean, Chloe is at least.
Really? No blankets, no.
No.
Yeah, because she's not in a sleep sack or anything. Huh, well, she's doing great.
Yeah. Well, it also depends on the day. Like,
yeah,
our bedrooms are upstairs, and her room specifically is the hottest room upstairs.
Yeah, that's how Millie's is.
It was just so annoying.
Yep.
So, but I mean, we use bamboo, so nothing's hot anyways.
Yep.
So, but
one thing that worked for us was dream feeds. So like right before Matt would
I've
go
heard
to
of those,
bed, well, you never needed to do them. Well, you tried to feed her and she wouldn't wake up, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't have done you any good. It worked for us really well, actually. She would right before Matt would like go to bed, he would like get her out of the crib and or out of the snoo and feed her a bottle, like a few ounces, and then put her back, and it helped a lot. She would sleep like a longer stretch.
I have heard that that's a game changer sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I never had to do it, so I can't really speak to it that well. I was fast asleep because I would go to bed at 8 p.m. I like that I say
Some things never change.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Lainey's never really woke up a lot after she started sleeping through the night until she had, I remember thinking, wow, we've never had a sleep regression. And then God was like,
LOL.
You want one? I think she was probably like 6 months before like the first time we were like, what is happening? And it was always the middle of the night. It was always between like 2 and 4 a.m.
Yep.
Every single night. She's just losing her mind. And this was where the really hard sleep training came into play, because it was probably a week where we would just take turns getting up with her, and like nothing was helping. She hadn't had a bottle in the middle of the night in a long time, and they always say like once you're done with it, never go back to it because you're gonna really regret it. So we never did any of that. We would just rock her and try to soothe her. We'd change her diaper, like maybe she's uncomfortable. Yeah. And nothing would help. And so at this point she was like 6 months old. And we just would let her, we finally were like, we have to just let her figure it out. Otherwise we're going to be doing this forever. I'm pretty sure the first night it took like 45 minutes total, not of her like full on like losing her mind, but like it was ebbs and flows. Like she would cry for a while and then she'd lay down, and then she'd get back up and she'd cry for a while and she'd lay back down. And I was literally like probably like giving myself hives. Like, oh my gosh. But I'm like, but also like this isn't good for her, this isn't good for us. And then that first night she never did it again.
Really?
So
like ever again for another sleep regression?
That sleep regression.
Just that was the sleep.
Like that after that one.
Oh, the 6 months sleep regression.
The six months.
Got it.
She was fine.
She did it once.
And then she never really, I don't remember having many more with her, but like I feel like all sleep regressions tend to last like 1 to 2 weeks.
Yes. And then, it's funny because I've never really been able to pinpoint when a sleep regression is happening. Yeah. Because she's always been a terrible sleeper. So I just chalk it up to like, oh,
life.
She just sucks at sleeping. Of course she's awake.
Yeah. I don't know. It just, when these things have happened, we're always like, okay, like it's got to be almost over. Like we got to be getting over the edge. For Lainey, she went through one not too long ago, and I know I talked to you about this. So after we had transitioned her to a toddler bed, so it's almost May now, we transitioned her to a toddler bed in like November. So she's been in one almost 6 months now. Or actually, it has been 6 months now. She was fine. The transition to the toddler bed was great. She wasn't even getting out of the bed. We were like, we're not going to tell her she can do that because I don't want to ruin this.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like I talked about last week.
Yeah. She was great. And then suddenly, oh my gosh, when was this? Maybe, I bet it was in January sometimes, because we were getting very nervous for vacation. Coming up, because we went to Disney. And she would wake up in the middle of the night, and she still wasn't like getting out of her bed to come get us. She would just wake up in the middle of the night screaming bloody murder. And she'd be doing the same thing when we put her to bed. We were like, what is wrong? We kept saying like, what do you need? Like,
I did that too.
So weird. Like, I will give you literally anything.
She was having nightmares.
So we finally figured out, and I guess this is very common at this age, it's like 2.5-year-old age, for them to like suddenly come onto fears. Yep. So she freaked out about her closet door being open. Yep. So that's like a routine now. We close her closet door, and out of nowhere, I mean, this girl has always slept in pitch black. I'm talking like we have, what are they called?
Do you do sound machines or night lights or anything?
We've never done a sound machine.
What?
Nope.
Okay.
That was another thing. I was like, I don't want to deal with it.
Let's bring that up again, because you're going to giggle when I tell you the amount of sound machines we have.
I had that. I mean, and I know they're very popular, but that was another thing where I was like, I don't want to have to like deal with this if I'm going somewhere else. And like, I don't want to have to, and I don't want to have to deal with a nightlight. And like we have blackout blinds and blackout curtains on top of that. So like girl has always slept in like complete darkness, and then out of nowhere, I don't like the dark, the dark, the dark, the dark. I'm like, who told you that you have to be afraid of the dark? Because, and I was like, no, the dark is good. The dark helps you sleep. We love the dark. No, we don't love the dark. So the hatch that we used to have, and we always had a hatch, but we only used it for nighttime feedings because we didn't want to turn the overhead light on. So we would just use that for feedings. Yeah. But we never used it for anything else. And we had it in Chloe's room at the time because she was sleeping through the night, but it was just like it lived in there. So we brought it back over and we put it in her room, and now she's fine. Yep. But it's just like so weird.
I know, it's like it happens overnight. For Millie, it was like shadows, like because we have the hatch on, so like some shadows on the walls. Gotcha. She would kind of be like worried about that. Yeah, we've used the hatch since day one. Love it because you can like set different timers and like
I have that routines. Done now, but
yeah. She likes the rainbow right now because then she can like watch it while she falls asleep or whatever, and then we switch it from like some like lullaby to sound at like 9. But I love that. But we always had like the little travel size one. It's like a little circle, and it has like a little like keychain type thing that you can put it like on your stroller or whatever.
Gotcha.
We put that thing everywhere. It was on like the car
seat. We were
seat.
Gifted a ton of those things, but we never used them.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah, no, we had sound machines on all the time.
That's so funny. Yeah, no.
Yeah, and the Snoo literally has a built-in sound machine.
Yeah,
and
I mean
like,
our monitor does too. Our monitor has like sound machines. You can play songs, you can play lullabies, you can play like white noise. There's a night light on it actually, but we just never used.
You said no.
We just never. Well, it wasn't like we didn't use it at first, and she slept just fine. So we were like, why
introduce more things if you don't have to?
Right, totally.
Yeah, we'll use the sound machine pretty much forever. I also like the sound machine just for like peace of mind that I'm not gonna wake her up, especially because like our dog is.
Oh my god. When Lainey is asleep, girl is like dead to the world. I can walk in there. I walk in there in the morning. The days that she doesn't wake up in time. I turn her light on. I like walk around. I get her stuff, and then I physically still have to pick her up out of bed and like wake her up.
Oh my god, I can walk in the room and Millie would be awake.
Oh my gosh, no.
And our dog is 3, 4. Oh my god, I'm such a bad dog mom. Once you have kids, your dogs are like whatever.
Yeah,
I think he's 4. But yeah, no, he barks incessantly sometimes if he hears something on the street. So I like kind of, it gives me peace of mind that like, okay, it's at least like drowned out a little bit, like with her sound machine.
Yeah. Our dogs, so we have 3 dogs and they're all 12. So they're all very old.
Which is so funny.
Yeah. Well, they're all turning 12 this year, I should say.
Okay.
But, yeah, they're 2011 babies.
Oh.
So that's 12, right?
I don't know. That makes
12 or 13. Maybe they're 13 this year.
I graduated college in 2012, so that makes me old.
But their bedroom is right across the hall from Chloe's, and they have their own bedroom. They do.
Oh, love that for them.
There's 3 of them, so I mean, they might as well.
They need a room.
They are so old, so like they do like get up in the middle of the night and they just like bark and bark and bark, and I feel they all share a cage. So we used to have them separate. We have like a big cage for them. They're tiny dogs anyway, but we used to try to separate them and they would literally cry. Aww. And then ever since we put them together, they've been fine. Like, okay. And they all like huddle together.
That's so cute.
They have like the best bedding and whatever, but now they're getting old and they wake up in the middle of the night and they bark, and it sounds like they like are stepping on each other's toes because they're like,
no. Like the high pitched like squeal.
Yes. And Chloe is a pretty good sleeper too, because she will Brittany hears her ringing in our house. It's Adam's,
some, like creepy music just started playing.
It's Adam's work phone.
It's like do 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 do. It's kind of like
it's the tone when you get a WebEx call. That's what it is.
Why is he getting a WebEx call at 8:55?
Because he started a new job and
quit this job.
Don't even get me started.
Please don't.
But they'll wake her up. They'll wake her up, and she'll just like. It's funny because you can watch her on the monitor. She like puts her hands straight down, and she like lifts her head and turns her neck, and then she just goes right back to sleep.
She's like, what happened?
Like, what was that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, light sleepers. My husband and my daughter. So
I'm a very light sleeper.
Are
Adam
you?
could sleep through like the tornadoes that came through.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have even and like the alert on your phone, like doesn't even.
Oh my gosh.
Nothing wakes him up.
So did you do the thing where like you would vacuum while they were napping and like keep all the lights on and stuff?
No.
We tried to do that.
No, I mean, but they were upstairs and I like.
Yeah. Because she was napping in the living room.
I do
so
feel
we
like
would
I
keep the windows
tiptoed a
open.
lot around Lainey.
Yeah.
And then with Chloe, I was like, it's not actually possible because I have an 18-month-old.
Yeah.
Or 2-year-old at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely not.
But with Chloe, so she's just like had a lot of ebbs and flows. I feel like she's had more like random bad nights that
Really?
Lainey didn't have, but I think it's because of her teeth.
I was going to say, teeth and ear infections.
Yeah, but her ear infections are nothing compared to what Lainey had. I
Really?
mean, Lainey had an ear infection every month.
Same with Millie.
Like it was wild. Chloe, her surgery is scheduled for next week? Not this coming week, but next week.
Yeah.
But she hasn't had an ear infection since her last one. So part of me is like, does she need it?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not going to do any harm. So.
Yeah.
But I do think a lot of it had to do with teething. But for Chloe specifically right now, so she's almost 11 months.
Oh my God.
What? For her like sleep issues seem to be correlated with when she had dropped a bottle during the day. So now, yeah.
That's another note I had.
Yeah.
Make sure they're eating during the day.
And like she dropped her bottles on her own. So right now she only takes a bottle in the morning and at night. But once she went down, so she and Lainey were both on the same schedule. They both had a bottle every 4 hours. So they only had 4 bottles a day. So she went down to just 1 bottle during the day. And then around that time, she had a harder time sleeping. But like, I don't know if it's related or if it just happened to be around the time she was also getting a tooth in or had an ear infection or whatever, because girl can put food away.
Yeah.
Like she was not hungry by any means, but I don't know. Maybe it was just random. She was just like getting used to it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Did teething affect Millie at all?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Well, you're like, I don't
but again,
know.
it's hard. Yeah, it's really hard to know like what it was because she was up so much during the nights. Like, I think even after she like had that first full night of sleep, it wasn't like a thing that happened all the time. Yeah. Like it was still like she would still wake up. It was about once a night, I would say, probably for the first year and a half of her life. Wow. Yeah.
Wow. Are you okay?
No. No, I'm not. I'm really not. And now, like, she's pretty good. She'll, like, wake up and kind of, like, look around and kind of just, like, grab her stuffed animal or her passy or whatever and put herself back down. But, like, of course, I still wake up and I'm, like, looking at the monitor. So it's, like, even when they are sleeping, like, you said you're a light sleeper, like, every noise that they make, I swear, like, this, I wasn't always like this until I had her. I'm awake. So it's, like, she can go right back to sleep, but then you're awake.
Yeah, that is something really annoying that Chloe does. She's
loud, right?
She is so loud. She'll wake up in the middle of the night and she's just a noisy sleeper, but she'll
yeah.
And then like I'm up and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm looking at the monitor, and like she'll do it for a little while longer and I'm like, crap, okay, I got to get up with her. And there's been times I've literally been standing outside her door about to go in and I look at the monitor and she's out.
Like that's happened to us so many times.
Okay, and I can't go back to sleep. It's depending on what time it is. If it's like a 2 a.m.er, I'll eventually fall back to sleep. But if it's like a 4, for me, there's no point going back to sleep at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Ugh.
I hate that.
I think something that helped us from the very beginning is that we had such a routine at bedtime.
Yep.
I mean, even as babies, once they were like,
you have to.
Yeah. And once they were like holding their head up, we started to incorporate like reading at bedtime.
Yeah.
So it was always Lainey would like hold her bottle while we read to her. Now Chloe's actually interested in the books, so she'll wait for her bottle until we read to her. But
it's so cute.
Yeah, just doing the same exact thing every single night, I think is helpful.
Yep, we did that
when
too.
it's possible.
Bath, pajamas, books, bottle, swaddle, bed.
Yeah. We would actually put her in her swaddle before we would feed her. So she was just like
Maybe
ready to go.
Too. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did because she would fall asleep. And
Yeah.
I'd put her right back.
Yeah.
Right into her crib.
Yeah.
And now our routine pretty much looks the same. It's just no bottle.
Yes.
But we still do give her milk when she wants it. She hasn't been wanting it lately, which is fine by me.
Yeah.
Brush teeth.
We cut out milk at a year.
Yeah.
Like once she dropped bottles, we had a sippy cup of water in there for her.
Yeah.
And we still have a water bottle in there for her. She wants it, but sometimes she does. Sometimes she doesn't.
We know Millie.
It's only after she goes to bed that she needs it.
Oh
yeah,
course.
that's right. Millie doesn't like
she won't drink water.
That's so funny.
Yep.
Oh.
But now she's in this phase where she goes, more books, more books, more books. Wants more books. And I'm like, girl, we already read 6.
I got to the point that we only read 2. We only read 2 every night. And if she wants more books, she can take them in her bed and look at them.
I try to tell her that, but she doesn't get it. We read like 6 books a night.
Oh my gosh, there's no way. I gotta get through 2 kids though. I don't have time for that.
No, absolutely not. And like, I don't,
I think something that's been very hard for me lately is as Lainey is getting older. Like she used to go to bed at 6:45, 6:30, 6:45 every night and sleep until
Millie never.
6:30, 7:30.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
And what's been really hard for me as she gets older is flexing bedtime because I am not a night person. And it gets harder as the seasons change too because it's still light out at 7 p.m. And I'm like, bro, it is bedtime. And I think like when it's actually like summer and if life slows down a little bit, like I don't care. I've tried to be a little bit more flexible with that because when Lainey has gone through her like really bad sleep regressions when she's just like screaming at the top of her lungs when we were trying to put her in her bed, a conversation that we had, we're like, well, is she either overtired or is she not tired enough? Because like both of those things can cause the same tantrum.
Yeah.
So we experimented around a little bit. We're like, well, let's try letting her stay up until 8 and see how that goes. I was like, oh my God, it's so late. And then we tried the other end. Like maybe she needs to, like maybe she's just like growing and is extra tired and needs to go to bed earlier. And
you're right, but you don't know which way it goes.
Yeah. So it's difficult.
It's really hard.
We clearly didn't figure that out because we're still like sticking with the same like 7:30 time frame. But I will say like when they're going through a true growth spurt, they've never slept better. Yeah. That's like the best sleep. Yeah. But then I swear, especially with like babies, they wake up and you're like, what? Yeah. Why are you so big? Yeah. And why do you look like a different person?
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure it's happened a lot with Chloe.
Yeah.
I feel like she grew fast.
She's like the same height as Lainey.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Crazy.
I know. That's so funny. Millie's been doing this thing where she sleeps until like 8 o'clock.
Oh my gosh. Lainey has done that a couple times, but the only time she wants to do it is in the middle of the week when I don't have time for it.
Yeah. And then on the weekend, she's up promptly at 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. And it's like, it's like, girl, come on.
She'll be opening our door at like 6:30 or 7 on a Saturday, and I'm like, remember how we don't do gymnastics on Saturdays anymore so we can have our weekend back?
Yeah. You can sleep. You can sleep.
Go back to bed.
Go back to sleep.
Or sometimes we'll let her crawl in bed with us, but she will not go back to sleep.
And then she's just like flailing around.
Like, okay, let's watch Miss Rachel, or let's watch. Right. I just recently got her to want to watch Taylor. Yes. So
you can put that on.
She's like, can we watch Taylor? She was flipping through my Time magazine.
Yeah.
And she kept pointing out everything she was wearing. She was like, ooh, look at her pretty dress. Aww. And then at one point she has a 2-piece on. She was like, look at her pretty bathing suit.
That's so cute.
So cute.
It's so pure.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't think there's a right way to get your kids to sleep.
No one size fits all, unfortunately. But hopefully some of these tips were helpful or you can relate to them.
We want to know how your kids sleep.
Yes.
I want to know if anyone can beat the 4-week.
Yeah.
Slept through the night.
Yeah. Can anyone beat
That's Kelsey's? An anomaly. And let me just be clear. It wasn't like every single day after that. She did it. It was like
it happened.
She did it. And then like, she might have gotten up the next night. But I mean, it was like.
And then on the flip side, can anyone beat my 9 months
of
real? Not sleeping?
Holy, I hope not.
I hope not too. I hope I have the all-time record.
All right. I've got.
What's next week's episode?
Yeah, I've got a new topic. So I really want to talk about this because I don't feel like people talk about this enough. Is just after you cross over from that relationship without kids, and then suddenly you are in a relationship with more than one person, your child.
Yep.
And just like what happens with that dynamic,
how it changes.
How it changes for the
Evolves.
good, how it changes for the bad.
Oh my gosh, yes, this is a great topic.
So
people don't talk about it. You're right.
They don't talk
normalize
about
this
it,
shit.
and I feel like people think that they're not normal because they go through a trial period with their significant other, whether you're married or not.
Yep.
I think we'll have a lot to say about that one.
Yes, I love that. That's great.
Yay. So tell us. You guys have been really great with letting us know things that you would like to hear. So keep them coming.
Yes.
And follow us on Instagram at Cradle to Chaos. And you can join our Facebook group, Cradle to Chaos. And follow us on Spotify. And you can listen to us wherever you find your podcasts.
Woo! We love saying it. All right. Well, I hope everyone gets some good sleep tonight. And we'll see you next week. Mom besties.
Bye.
Bye.